I'm going to bring in Texas Congressman Lance Gooden. He's also a member of the Financial Services Committee. All right, Congressman. Now, on Wall Street, we look at this thing, we call it ROI, return on investment. Now, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to be an economic genius to see something is wrong if you're spending $800,000 per job. So here's the thing I'm asking. Where's the money really going?
Well, you know, you don't even know how bad it is, because you have me back on your show once the House finally passes this bill, assuming they do. I would assume Nancy Pelosi will have her votes, but that's when you'll really find out how bad this bill is. That's when you'll really see the pork that's loaded up in this bill. They'd be crazy to put it in now, but as this thing progresses toward passage, that cost will rise. You will see the pet projects, and it will be like a COVID relief bill all over again. It will have very little to do with infrastructure, and the cost will skyrocket. And I suspect that we'll be talking about it for a long time. That's why you heard the White House say they're open to negotiation, because they know they don't have the votes anywhere near that in the Senate to get it passed.
Right, and they're talking about votes among Democrats in the Senate, so there is some lunacy still in D.C. Lucidness rather than that. It's not everyone's gone crazy, but what about this effort to redefine what infrastructure is, including elder care, things like that?
Yeah, we saw the senator from New York, Kirsten Gillibrand, say that caregiving is infrastructure. I suspect you'll see all kinds of new definitions of infrastructure as the weeks roll on. But I think the average American, when they hear infrastructure, they hear highways, bridges. I would even accept maybe some train travel might be infrastructure, but certainly caregiving and lots of other pet projects that will no doubt be put in this bill. I think it's a stretch to call it infrastructure.
Yeah, and if we're talking trains, they better be talking high-speed trains, not extending Amtrak, because China is way ahead of us on high-speed rail. Hey, let's talk about Jamie Dimon's letter, because it covered a wide spectrum of things, including Washington, D.C. He said it is appropriate to blame U.S. leaders for our dysfunctional government. He talked about saying that we're stymied by self-interest, selfishness, and the buildup of bureaucratic plaque and institutional sclerosis. I mean, what do you say to those comments? It's kind of hard to argue with them on some of this.
It is hard to argue, but if you read in that same report, he also says that action in Washington is what has helped us to be in the strong position we are financially. I think he references some of the coronavirus legislation passed back in April and May. It's hard to say that we are totally dysfunctional and also praise government action all in the same report, but he manages to do that. But I think he does have some points.
What you're talking about, with all due respect, Congressman, what you're talking about is an asterisk, right? I mean, it was an amazing, wonderful thing, and that's one of the things I applaud President Trump on. His administration, led by Steven Mnuchin, was able to get the plan out, get the checks out, unify everyone. Democrats came on board. It was that moment in time. It seems like it happens once every century. Now we're back to trying to redefine infrastructure as taking care of grandma. I mean, so, you know, how do we fix this?
Well, elections matter, obviously, is the first thing. But I would disagree that things are that bad. I think we will eventually come to some agreement. I hope we do. I hope that the White House is finally open to working across the aisle as they campaigned. I hope they will actually acknowledge there's a crisis at the border. I hope we can agree on a definition of infrastructure. But I do believe we're in a better place today because, as you said, President Trump's action, if you look at France, they've been shut down since November. We've got vaccines rolling out across this country. There is really no place that I would imagine rather being. I've seen comments from Jamie Dimon in the past praising places like France while criticizing some of our at-home policies. But I think we're in a much better position today than many of our peers in Europe, despite our problems.
Europe and Asia. It's really amazing. And we spent all of last year with the media saying how dumb we were because of our president. And now look where we are versus the rest of the world. We are lapping them, and we're going to reap the benefits from it. Can't wait to get you back on once we see all the goodies inside that magical package. Congressman Gooden, we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Meanwhile,